Exactly 56 years ago, Ghana became a republic state. And over the years, this day has been commemorated with lots of activities. Lately, it's been captioned the Senior Citizens Day. Today on Joy News, we are blessed with Professor Irene K. Adote. She is the president of the Historical Society of Ghana. She is also the director of the Institute for Research, Advocacy and Training here in Ghana. On that day, she was there. She'll be sharing with us some fondest memories when Ghana became a republic state on 1st July 1960. Prof, welcome to Joy News.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm fine.
1960, 1st July. Where were you on that day and what were you doing?
1st July. I know I was between 15 and 16. I was still in school, secondary school. 1st July, no, I really, if I tell you, I know exactly where I was then, I'll be lying. Because I could either be in school or holiday. At that time, there was a change in the academic year.
Okay.
So we could still be in school, and but I was a student, to put it short. I was a student. But I know that
something had happened that
I know had happened, and emotionally, it didn't matter where you were.
Okay, why?
At that time, it didn't matter where you were. It was the journey of independence. We've had our independence 6 months, 1957, and we're growing up. So I felt like a teenager. I was identified with the Republic Day because it's another step in the independence, the growing up, struggling.
Okay.
As a 15, if you've been 15 or 16 years before, you know how it feels.
Yeah.
When you think you are an adult now, you've been declared.
You're on top of the world.
Thank you very much. So I felt on top of that. You got it. I felt on top of the world for Ghana because I was identifying with the country. So my location, I was assuming my location for me is wherever I was. Now that you ask the question, I try to remember where I was.
So where were you?
I have no idea.
Anyway.
But Ghana was a republic and we are celebrating. Hey, Nijiabo, kind of, we are happy. Ghana is a republic. Okay. And that to me was the most important factor.
A lot might have changed since that day, looking at the years that have gone by. What's in your experience, would you say has been the dramatic change over the period? And what's brought about that change, if you can tell us?
Yeah, I would say that, well, infrastructural.
Okay.
There's a change. There are so many, where we are now used to be the farms of the people of Accra. They were planting okra and garden here, Oyarifa, Adote area were farms. They provide food security for the city. Now they've all been turned to residential area. Accra is expanding, so we say to the foot of the hill and this way. So that's one dramatic physical change.
Infrastructure.
You see these tall buildings. You go to the old place, the tall glass buildings have been made. So infrastructurally, fine. And also, I would say, because I'm in education, I can talk about education confidently.
Okay.
At that time, there were just a few secondary schools, a few secondary schools. We talk about Achimota, Aburi, Wesley Girls, Mampong.
By then you were also in a secondary school?
Yes, I was in Aburi Girls Secondary School. Now, Aburi Girls Senior High School. That's where I was. So, but with time, now let's look at it. So many secondary, when Kwame Nkrumah brought the Trust Secondary School, Tema, and all those. Now there's so many secondary schools, you can't name them. Fanchiriko Secondary School. I don't know whether Fanchiriko has a secondary school yet, but that's one of my favorite places. Fanchiriko and all those in there, they're all over. So it gives people, it's like education has been open wide. Now let's look at tertiary. You used to have University of Ghana, then you used to have Kumasi. Nkrumah brought in Cape Coast, and now there's so many universities. Look at the faith-based ones. You look at
Central University.
Central University was brought for me. Central brought a dramatic change because before, if you didn't pass let's say to go to the university at that time, you missed it. University of Ghana started what they call mature program, and people could go in there. The Central University came with the idea of you can go to university after work.
Okay.
And to me, that was really something. And then other universities, Methodist University is there, this university, Valley View is there, and then Presbyterian University. So the faith-based universities that have come in. And then there are other ones like Ashesi University. So when it comes to, and the programs they are offering, you can still be working, making during the holidays, you go distance learning. So to me, that is a fantastic. If you don't have any certificate on it, it's because you don't want to, not because it's not available. My only disappointment is what we've done with the BCE level group. In our time, you finish at 7. If you couldn't go to the secondary school and you finish at 7, there were some training colleges you could go to for teaching and nursing. You started from the basic and you were built up. So if you've been to secondary school, you did 2 years post-sec. If you haven't been, you did 2 years, get a certificate, come and teach, go back and build yourself up. And so my worry is, have we done well by the BC, those who finish junior secondary school?
Okay,
and
that's the
BECE after BECE
during the Rawlings regime, right?
BECE after BECE, what next? So if you couldn't go to secondary school, what happens to you? You're going to sell paper bag on the wayside, rubber bags and things at the wayside. That is my only, where I think we should really pay, because some of them are very bright. You know, you have OIC, which takes care of them, but we should have more of the OICs and get them in the system so they don't become frustrated. There are brilliant ones among them. So that's my own. Educationally, I can say that's where I am.
A great transformation.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Let me take you back a little bit more. Still talking about the Republic Day. When the Queen said goodbye to Ghana and that we were a people of our own, I believe this was a significant stride in independence struggle, like you said, and marking this day annually over the period. Do you think we have, by any way, missed the significance, of the colonial masters leaving us and saying that now we should take charge of our own affairs? Do you think that in the way we mark this year annually, we have missed out on the significance of this day or the essence of the day itself?
I think so. I really think so. I think, you see, the independence was a major. That we're no longer a colonial government. We even changed our name from the Gold Coast to Ghana and the euphoria and everything. So I think it's like Republic Day has become second place. And we are not. So really, I think we should really commemorate the Republic Day, make it a bit, appear a bit more significant by way of celebration.
So exactly what should we be doing to get that significance back? Because what happens, for instance, a day like this, maybe the president would have a moment with some senior statesmen, probably dine with them. Some of us professionally want to reflect on the day, tell the story again. I don't know, on your part, bringing back that significance, what is the change we should be looking at?
Me, I have this thing, a pet program, I would say, intergenerational, I call it intergenerational dialogue. You see, we have for the senior citizens. So Republic Day, can't we have something like an intergenerational dialogue where the young and the old can talk about issues? We can choose an issue and talk seriously about them and see how the young ones see the world and how they see things and how so we can, just chatting with them about what they want to know, because I think there's a gap, a generational gap. This can be between the older generation and the younger generation. To begin with, the older generation find everything wrong with the younger generation. Whatever they are doing is wrong. In our time, it wasn't like that, We were more respectful. We're this and we're this in our time. And then the younger people say, oh, these Kolo people, they don't understand anything. They So they are busy. So the healthy respect, even we should have, if we were to sit down and talk, the young will respect the old, and the old will respect, and then we feel that we are all contributing. Okay. So Republic, the youth, this year, what have you, young people, you are there, it's pa. What have you done? What are you doing? These old people, you are not too old. So sometimes they make you feel older than you are in Ghana. Okay. It's like you've gone on pension, 60 years. So you dare not even go to your former office. You know that people are saying, what's he doing?
You should be resting. I mean,
they'll say rest. And woe to you if you get a little sick. Then that one, they bought the coffee
already.
And they started writing your tribute.
They started worrying about how much to spend on the funeral.
Thank you very much, and writing your tribute. So I think, but you go to other countries, people are, they are working. I had a boss who was 80 years old. You know, I had a boss who was 80 years old and still kicking. Look at Professor Nketi, 95 years. He just launched his latest book. Yeah. Do you get my point? Yeah. So there are people can still contribute. So let's see that the older generation, they've done something, but they are still able to do something. So what can we tap from them? And the young ones too, the older generation should see that they are not, like, their times are different from our times. So let's see what we can also help them. If they know you respect them, the young people, you see, they are champions. Let's remember that the young, they feel they are champions. So you treat them like the champions that they are. Okay. You don't have troubles. And like they know something and you know something. You want to know what they know. You want to gain from the experience. The places they go to, you can't go there. No. But they go there and it's a part of Ghana. So learn from them the places they go to and the experiences they've had and the knowledge they have. You know, ICT, just try and do something with ICT with a young person. And you know, you floor you black and blue. If you floor you even know.
See, you cry, you don't understand anything.
Oh, do I? You get my point.
Okay.
So, and not only ICT, they know the world, how the world is going, and we also are in our corner. So let's get intergenerational dialogue. Okay. Thank God for the senior citizens. They can't do without the younger ones, and the younger ones can't do without them. Let's sit and talk, and learn from each other.
So 2016, today, 1st July, if you had that opportunity to organize that intergenerational talk between the old and the young, what would be the issue you would be looking at? What would you be talking about?
This year, because it's an election year. Okay. The election year, I'll be talking about politics, and I'll be talking about integrity. I'll be talking about culture, and I'll be talking about identities, peace and unity. That's what I'll be talking about. So the way politics we have, you know, the way the political thing is as if we are fighting. And the young people there, you are in the media. Sometimes the media, you report news as if you want to provoke a fight. You media people, you need to be, we need to bring you and chat with you. And you see, so we have lost the essence of the proverbs we have. Our own, the culture, bringing culture, because our old people gone by, they had the philosophy of life. They have knowledge, so only they couldn't write it down for us. They have issues of, you know, what they thought authority and power. The views on power, it's in their Adinkra symbols, it's in the chief. You go to the palaces, you find that they have these symbols there, in the artifacts. They are all there. These are things the young should learn. These are things, so even our politicians, they should learn to talk. And that you sit down, even sometimes you are calling, you are criticizing, but not condemning. We don't know how to affirm people. I'll talk to the young about affirmation. If somebody does something that is good, you know, affirm the person, even if it's 10% good, affirm so that it gets to 20-30%. And if the person does something bad, criticize, say you don't agree, but don't let the person feel that he's stupid just because it's, and these the things that worry me. We are so busy calling them, we are so busy, and I'd like to talk to the young about culture, what's the sense of power, politics, ethnicity. Now, the young, there's so much intermarriage now. If I'm sitting in Accra and Gadangme, we start saying, we should all go. I have 2 sets of cousins who are Evers. Am I sending them away? No. I can't. Their fathers are Evers, but their mothers are my mothers. So what do you do? So we have mixed so much in the country that we can't even reckon that. But ethnicity brings us together. Let ethnicity bring us together. These are some of the issues I think I will look at, and families are breaking. Young ones, you get married in the morning and divorce papers the following morning. You divorce the family. So there are so many things I like to talk to. And in fact, we've been doing some of those things in this institute. We've been doing the intergenerational dialogue on a pilot. Once we brought historians from the secondary schools, and they joined the history teachers in the second, and then the professors also in the universities. We all came together here and we discussed one of those. There's, I think, slave trade. I don't remember. One of those international issues. And they came here and we talked. And you'll be amazed. Some of them, they asked us a question, and the professors were looking at each other's face. We didn't know how to answer. Yeah. We weren't. I said, these young people, they are deep. Yeah. They asked us a question, and we had to think and answer. It took about 3 of us
to put your heads together to get an answer.
One person gave half of it, the other joined, and the other just said, yeah. When they finished, said, yeah,
they didn't even look satisfied, I'm sure.
So, but we had this intergenerational, and then we've also had on child protection, on sanitation. We did that once we had a peace and union with the Queen Mothers and the teachers. And the teachers and the youth, we have a youth program. So we already started experimentally with this intergenerational. We love it here because, you ask, we just had one with the Ghana Art Teachers Association. They came here, and at that time it was AU Day for the African Child. I'm sure you saw it on the wall, the painting. Yes. So they came and we talked to them about child protection and other things. And the art teachers helped them to do what they wanted, creatively what they want to be. Come and see them interpreting what sanitation and what they were talking about. It was, we just looked at each other. So we asked the girl, what do you want to be in future? We're not surprised. Said professor. It's already started.
Prof, since you said if you had opportunity, you would talk about politics. I wanted us to talk about politics later in our conversation.
No, I talk about politics the way it's going. Yes, election, not politics.
Yes, because it's an election year.
I talk about
a
little. I don't want to spend. There are too many people talking.
I just want us to finish. I just want us to finish with that bit so that we can move on. And we wouldn't have to go back to election again since you've raised the subject. The Ghana's looking at the politics of Ghana, you have a large number of the youth very much involved in politics. If you look at our parliamentarians, all of that, they are you have very energetic individuals there who are very active, wanting to get the country on the right path. We are getting ready for the polls in November or December. What do you make of the political atmosphere, in the run-up to the election? There's been so many commentaries in the media, radio, print, all over the place, online, and you hear politicians on their political platforms, campaign platforms, making lots of sometimes very unsavory comments. And listening as a young person, sometimes you get confused. You don't really know where you belong and what you want to do. As a senior citizen, what do you make of the atmosphere, and what would you advise or tell the active and the energetic youth of Ghana to invest their energy in as we get ready for the election, either in November or in December?
In the first place, I would really advise them to study and learn about, because the youth, they don't know anything. They do things uninformed. They rush into things. You know, I'm saying that some years ago during elections, we got some of them and we did something on conflicts. What brings about conflict and conflict resolution. We did something for first-time voters to tell them what are their rights, their citizens' their rights, and how to exercise those rights. So we did, but that was a small pilot we did in the small corner of the world, but of this country. I think if we could just do something by way of educating them, so the young persons can see the signs, they can themselves assess what you are saying.
Are you worried? Are you worried about the atmosphere?
Yes, I am. Worried is an understatement.
Okay.
If I tell you worried, but I'm not supposed to worry, because the Bible says I shouldn't worry, so I dare not say that I'm worried. But I get upset. I really get upset when I listen to the radio. That sometimes my first instinct is to put it off, so that I don't hear and I don't want my blood pressure to go up or something.
What are the things that upset you?
The way people talk, the choice of words, the tone of voice. It's like even the tone of voice and the choice, the insults. Sometimes even in our language. So we need to learn communication. We need to learn communication. We need to learn the use of language. Because somebody can say things which are not complimentary, but to say it in such a way that you don't feel insulted. You take the message and say, oh, this one, the way the person has spoken, I have to do something about myself and my behavior. But they can say such a thing, your first reaction is to protest, not to accept it, to reject. But maybe there's a nugget of this in what they are saying, that if you pay attention, it will help you. But the way it is said, we don't know how to apologize, even when we upset or offend people. Humility, and it all will come with humility. Because if you are humble, you know how to relate to people, and I think that goes for the media too. The media will have to learn a lot, and it's important. They've learned what they can learn from the books, right? But we also have to teach them off the books, and it means our culture, our philosophy of life, and other things they have to know. So they will know if they even interview some politician and the politician is going way off course, they will know how to say it politely and bring them back to this, so that the politician himself will know that, hey, actually we are coming.
And that is where you come in as a senior citizen.
But that is how you have to learn. We know, if you don't want to be taught, nobody can teach you. The youth must have a teachable spirit, and the elderly should be patient with them. Once upon a time, you were young. So we be patient. But the youth must want to. If they have this alichon attitude, alichon?
Yeah, too known.
Thank you. If they have this alichon attitude, what are they going to learn from you? Now, and especially if you appear a bit frail and they are going around, they are mommy you, mommy, they have no respect for it. Mommy, it means shut up. Hey, shut up. Shut up. They're treating you with
okay, Prof. Okay. Let's come home.
Yes.
I want us to talk about the aged in Ghana. Okay. They have lots of issues. You want to talk about their retirement problems, aging, I mean, even how they are managed socially and all of that. I know the Ministry of Gender and Social Protection has taken notice of some of the challenges the senior citizens are facing in Ghana. I remember a program like free bus boarding services for some of them, and their pensions too. There are plans as to how to make it more attractive and make it more satisfying to them. I want to find out from you, when you look around and see your mates who have retired from active service, do you appreciate the way they are managed nationally, on the national scale? Do you appreciate how they are managed? Are these services that the government or interventions that the government have put in place adequate to make them feel comfortable and enjoy their old age?
I don't think they are adequate. But you also have to find out what the priorities are. I think to be able to give them a package, then you have to make sure, say that on the average, this is what is spent on food, this is what is spent on utility bill, this is what is spent on transportation. We have to do it like they do in other countries, where before they give it to you, they know all these things. Yeah, so they know that, okay, you can bus the bus free, so transportation has been taken care of. But if you are giving the person 500 cedis and it's going to the same market to buy food and pay the same price, if he has to take, I don't know how much of it, to pay electricity and water, and the person is going to sit down and have the time worrying. Worrying about what to do. And the problem is that when people retire at 60 years, when they are still very active, you see, that too is an issue, when they are still very active. So the whole thing has to be looked at together to find out our retirement age, how let's say appropriate is it? How, and then you see, so what can we do with them and for them? Because some of them, they don't want to sit down and receive charity. They can still do some kind of work. Engage their minds, engage them. So when we are looking at the package, the state says 60, go home. At 60, are you ready? Go home and do what at that time? So you help them with the what.
Okay.
You see, we have to get them and see them through. What are we going to do? What can you do? Ask them, okay, you are 60, you retired, but what else can you do? You think you can do? And then let them, for all you know, there could be still any income in a different kind of retooling themselves. Can you retool yourself to do something else, so they don't have to depend on charity? And then they do get, and the country can gain from them, you see. So I think let's think about it. I think really think about it, have a round table
and do. There's more that needs to be done.
Yes, than the free busing.
Experience, how did you feel at 60 when you had to formally leave?
At 60, let's say when I had to formally leave, because I had been doing so much, by that time I really needed the rest. But then at the same time, I had so many unfinished things I was doing. So my attitude is, hey, all these things I have really invested my time and energy and money in doing. Are they going to fall through? Are they going to continue? You know, where will it lead to? So my reaction was that. And then through that I said, well, some of them I can do. And the result is this place you are sitting here.
Whoa.
The result is that, okay, so I can do that. So why don't I start some programs? And people were asking me to do things for them. You know, like, oh, why don't you organize a workshop, or why don't you know this? And I'm still doing it. Okay. But imagine I didn't have this anything. Place or anything.
So for you, you were so engaged, you were so involved that you didn't even realize, you didn't feel it, except for that psychological thought that
my fear, what is going to happen to all
those things that you were working on, and the time is up, and you have to.
And if the person, because the person who is also coming has a own interest and a whole experience. So you don't expect the person to just walk in and continue.
So how did you manage that?
How did I manage that?
So that the unfinished businesses didn't suffer, projects didn't suffer.
Some of them suffered, but fortunately, I had some students. You know, I was the director of the Institute of African Studies. I had some students that I brought up who are now colleagues, they are working there. So some of the things, they are continuing. So I could say I was fortunate because I had some of them. Adam is one of them. Adam sitting there was one of my teaching assistants, was my student, my teaching and research assistant. Now he's also working there so sometimes that's why I could call him and say, Adam, someone's going to interview me. Come to my rescue.
And that brings us to the Historical Society of Ghana. Like you said, Adam will help you to do that. We want to know how relevant the association has been to telling the story of Ghana to the new generation. How is the society ensuring that some of these beautiful memories and landmarks in our history do not fade away?
Okay. Now, what happened is that the Historical Society is older than Ghana, the country Ghana. We were born in 1951. Ghana was born in 1957, right? And at one point, we were having conferences every year. We used to have a little subvention to do there. And then when Ghana started having problems, economic problems, we went to a conference. There was no water, there's no food, nothing. And then when the historians, we packed our things and went home. We didn't come back. And we were in a coma for 19 years. 19 years. We were in a coma for 19 years. There was no Historical Society of Ghana, no function. And we could hear people saying things in the radio that were not historical. And I got worried. Fortunately for me, at that time, I was a director of the Institute of African Studies
at the University of Ghana.
And at that time, I was doing a program, a joint program with University of Trondheim in Norway. We did a program on Asafo companies, and then we did a program on tradition and modernity in Ghana's history and development. So we wrote, as part of our project proposal, outreach. And the outreach was to revive the Historical Society of Ghana and do some other things. So that enabled us. With that, and the idea too was to train some of the younger people to do the masters and the PhDs. So we made that arrangement, and we made this thing for that. So we started calling the
and all of this you were championing?
Yes, because I had the opportunity, because I was the coordinator for the Trondheim, the same project, and the professor I was working with was once a student who came and did it. He did his PhD, but I helped him, so he was my friend. So we exploited both the friendship and everything, and the opportunity. So we started by calling the historians in the universities to a meeting. So we said, now we have to wake up. We can't be sleeping like that. What do we do? And we started also getting the people who were doing the PhDs and masters to come together to read the proposal, to help them up. So we're doing that, and lo and behold, the Historical Society started popping up. They would say, now let's go back. So we did get also someone from GTZ to do some roundtable conference last at Ghana's independence, so people know we're there. And we got a little from Get Fund also to do some workshops, and we also brought the history teachers in the secondary school together so that we did a workshop for them on teaching and researching history. Teaching and researching history. And so they have formed their own association, History Teachers Association, from the secondary schools, and they also meet. So from that seed, you know, the small seed we started, you know, from that project with the University of Trondheim, and being in African Studies also helped at that time, because then we could bring them to come and stay over, and because we had some challenges. So with the resources at my disposal. So when they came and we said now we were going to have election, then they automatically said,
okay, it just makes sense. I was just waiting to say that.
They said, they said,
they couldn't have given that nod to anyone else.
No, but I think they did a good servant.
And you proved yourself.
And so, and now I've been there and they are not thinking of elections. So last I called them again.
So for how long have you been there? Since?
So I called them and said that, you all know I'm tired. I'm thinking to have health challenges. So now it's time.
They should be thinking of a replacement.
And they said, okay, we hear you. They're not at this meeting, so we'll call another meeting.
And they will decide whether you should be there.
No.
Oh.
This time, if they don't do, I'll get up and walk away myself. Because I think they are younger. Now I know there are younger people who can do it. So they can be there and will be behind them. I could be behind them. Seniors, the Professor Adote is there, Professor Menume, and all those, and Professor Dakwa, they are all there. So we will sit behind them, and then we let them go, and also make their mistakes and get their victories. Okay. You know. So now my term is, I'm rounding up.
I see. Tell me, how exciting or boring has it been for you being the president of this intellectually based research?
It has not been boring at all. It has not been. In fact, I don't know what I would have done really if I didn't have that kind of, because here we are when we're doing, it's one society that has the young from the secondary school to the top, to the retirees.
Okay.
So we are really intergenerational. So sometimes you do something, you bring the secondary school students to come to Lagos. They get so excited when I was there. You know, they'll come and sit down and listen. They'll be excited. Now I could bring them here. So, you know, from one to then the history teachers to another category, fine, then my own colleagues. And then when we're doing roundtable conferences, we were being people activists. You know, they are not historians, but they play, if you are discussing security system, you bring somebody who has been chief of security to be here. Okay. When you do religion, you know, the changing faces of religion, then you bring the Muslim, the Christians, the traditionalists together, and we discuss. So it's one thing that has brought me into contact with people from different, you bring the chiefs together, you bring, so it has not been boring. It has been very exciting for me.
Active for you. You're always on the go.
Yes, so there was also always something to do. But I think now...
Finally, before I go to Edem, Prof, if I give you the opportunity to make a request on this day or an advice, what would it be?
What will it be?
As a senior citizen.
As a senior citizen, I will say that you should value them and help them, but
value and help the aged, and
also get there a good resource, a fantastic human resource. We shouldn't waste them. We shouldn't waste them, and we should value them and get as much as we can before they go. We know that they say when an old man dies, a whole library is lost. So let's get from them before they go.
Aren't we doing that already?
No, I don't think we're doing that. I don't think we are doing that. Okay. We started from this place trying to do biographies, but we haven't really gotten far. There's so much, and there's so much that we can learn from them. And I will also make a request that let history have the centrality issue. Everybody has a history. Now somebody can go to school, go to the whole secondary school system and wouldn't know a word of Ghanaian history. I think that is disastrous. And I will say that bring history back to the classroom, where everybody will know. Even if for a short time, everybody will know the basics of Ghanaian history. Whether you are a science student,
it should be compulsory for every student, just as we do the English language.
Thank you very much. Thank you, because without history, we are lost. You know, the people, if you don't know your history, you are forever a child. Okay. And you know, let's get history involved, because history is exciting. Now, what worries me is that people don't say that history is, all they think that is that when you do history, you won't get money. They think that if you do history, then you go and teach. And then they look at the teacher, they think they are chapo people. They don't have money. So who wants to do history? Some parents even start crying when the children say they are going to do history. Some people, even the schools, they won't offer history. But I think let's put history and make it, you know, because that is where we get our sense of nationhood, our sense of pride that we are a people. And we day back, you listen to you know, when they are beating their drums, they're telling you, Titi Wabika, you see, Titi Wabika, Titi Wabichre. What is it? If they are traditionally, we are beating the drums and saying Titi Wabika, Titi Wabichre. This is what our people, because they didn't write, they were beating the drum. They are saying Titi Wabika, Titi Wabichre. That's the indigenous philosophy of the people. If they are saying, the drums are saying that, and you are sitting there, maybe you haven't even heard the drums, so you don't know, and you think history is so important.
It's very important.
Then you are improving the boundaries of illiteracy. If you don't know any history, and you are looking at my face, what did you do? Did you do any history?
I didn't do history.
Look at you.
All.
Look at you.
But talking to you, I'm beginning to appreciate history.
And become excited. so I'll do a program history for non-historians.
So that
you giving
some of us.
You're giving me the next
business
program
idea.
Then you write it. So
the concept for you.
So that I get money, because you brought the word business. I saw it as an advocacy idea, but once you mention the word business,
yes, it will not be free.
So you write it for me.
Anyway,
you write it. I'm giving you an assignment. Come and teach history. I want to teach history from this corner of the world. So now that you come, I think it's important, and now you brought your cameras. Now let's come and do history. The historians are ready. We'll teach from this. From Joy News, we will teach history.
Brilliant idea.
So
it will go for
I'll be
Prof.
waiting.
Sure, Prof. It's been great having you.
It's been fun.
It's been great having you.
It's been fun having you. Oh, it's so good when I see a younger person.
I'm sure we've made your first Republic.
Oh, you have. You have. It's been fun. And
Professor Irene K. Adote is an astute historian.
Ajay, you are giving me titles.
I'm sure you got that from the conversation I've had with her, and you appreciate that she lives it. It is her life. Everything about her is the history of Ghana. So that's
a big post.
That's Prof's memories and take for us as we mark another year in remembering 1st July 1960 when Ghana became a republic state. Thank you for watching. Dr. Edem Adote has joined us now. He is a research fellow at the Institute of African Studies, University of Ghana. He works directly with Professor Irene K. Adote. He'll be telling us more about the Historical Society of Ghana, what they do, and how relevant their activities transcends to this day, which is the Republic Day that we are celebrating. Welcome.
Thank you,
Dr. Adote. Tell me, the Historical Society of Ghana, take me through some of your activities. I know it's a research and you want to do about Ghana stories. What do you?
Well, I wouldn't just call it stories because history just goes beyond stories. We do a bit of interpretation to contextualize the events as well. Basically, it's an association of people who teach, research, and study history, or people basically who are interested in history. So we have members all the way from history teachers at the secondary level, then history lecturers at the tertiary level as well. So what basically we try to do is to research on the history of Ghana and disseminate our research findings.
Do you make money from this?
Well, I'm a research fellow in the Institute of African Studies. I'm paid for teaching history, so I guess.
Okay, so the Institute funds your activities?
Basically, since we are academics, we do our individual research, and our publications are sometimes published in the Journal of the Historical Society of Ghana. We also do other publications in other academic journals as well. So these findings we also go for conferences, seminars, all these things are put out there as part of dissemination of our research findings.
Can I just decide to become a member of the society?
Yes, if
even without any history background.
We actually love people like you joining the Historical Society of Ghana because
so
we
that
really
you
want
laugh
interest.
you laugh at my ignorance.
No, everybody knows some bit of Ghana history. You are here because of the Republic Day. If we're interested in the historical significance of that event, you wouldn't be here. So we are all historians somehow.
Okay.
We talk about history every day. We just don't know that we are historians.
Okay.
Yes, but everybody basically is some historian.
Okay, I'm happy, so I'll smile. At least I feel a part of you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Okay, so tell me, what would you say was your last major event or activity of the society? And what was the objective? How did it pan out at the end of the day?
Well, we've had several activities, but I think the most significant one was the roundtable conferences we organized during Ghana's 50th anniversary celebrations. And we touched on several issues, way from pre-colonial Ghana through colonial period, right down to post-colonial era. So basically, that was a very major one we did. But since then, we've also been organizing conferences and workshops to equip our colleagues at different levels so that they can carry out their work properly.
Looking forward, how do we see the historical society affecting the tales of Ghana, the history of Ghana?
I think probably we need to engage history, take history more seriously than we do. I think history is basically treated like our day for kids. When time comes, we are all excited like you people are. When it says March, it's Republic Day, it's Nkrumah's birthday, then everybody's running around looking for some bit of history. But there are a lot of issues that we haven't here that have historical underpinnings. And without these understandings, we can't really confront these challenges. We talk about chieftaincy disputes, even with election disputes, all these disputes we have on the borderlands, these allegations about people crossing the boundaries to vote and all that. These have historical underpinnings. If we understand why people do what they do, just like especially with the borderlands, where some of these people were separated as a result of the colonial boundaries, and for them they still look to the traditional state and that straddle the international boundaries. Then you don't understand why they behave that way. So when we understand some of these historical issues, then I think we will properly be placed to find the right solutions to some of these issues. So I think we should be taking history more seriously. There are a lot of issues that come, everyday issues that historians should be called to address the issues, but I think we should treat us more seriously like we do with us.
Do you think you are being engaged more on the national scale in terms of policy, information, all of that?
No, I don't think.
Why? Is it that they don't see you relevant to the cause of the nation or whatever they want to do?
Over the period, I would say some policymakers have tended to look down upon the significance of history. We all know how Prof has said about how history now has been dropped down on the scale of subjects that have been studied at some of these levels. And I think we need to really rectify some of this, because when you do that, it means that they don't really attach any importance to the subject. And if kids grow up thinking that it's not a subject you take at that level, then basically that is how it's going to grow up.
Do you think we are suffering or we are paying for not making history take its place on the national level?
Sure, I think so.
Are we suffering in
I think so. For instance, if you talk about Republic Day, it's not just about we deciding to move from the monarchical government under the Queen to become a presidential system. It's about how people at that point in time perceived themselves, about the self-belief, because about 90% of the people in the referendum voted to become a republic. It was a phase in the continuum of our independence struggle, way from when this enslavement through colonial rule to the post-independence era. So if in 1960, our people felt that we're ripe to really be fully, move away from the British colonial government, what are the ideals that inform that? What spirit, what issues really propel people to do that? And I think if we get to understand some of these things, we can go back and learn from what really motivated and take inspiration from some of these issues.
Dr. Edem Adote is a research fellow at the Institute of African Studies, University of Ghana. We appreciate your time so much. It's been great wisdom you've just shared with us, and we start looking deeply into the things you have said and possibly putting history at where it needs to be everywhere in our educational curriculum, national policy makers, so that we better appreciate history. Great having you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for the opportunity.